Figure on the way to work today, I could tell you a little bit about the NFTYATA. I bought that thing in 2021, like mid-COVID. You know, everyone kind of locked inside, didn't really have like a social outlet. You know, I kind of found mine on VR chat, and that was where I was kind of talking to people and meeting people in ways that like I never really even did before COVID, which is cool. Just kind of learning how to communicate with people. But yeah, on New Year's Eve one night, I'm talking to my buddy. He's you know, big into Miatas, whatever. Like I never been in a Miata before I owned one, which is kind of crazy. But I got a little drunk on New Year's Eve one night in you know, New Year's Eve 2021 or New Year's 2021, and told him $1,500 I'll come pick it up. He said deal, and I bought one-way ticket flights for me and Joe, who's in the last video, to go out there. And 11 days after coming to that deal, I found myself in Florida with my buddy, and we had to drive it home at that point. I mean, we got there and there was no front pulley on it, the main pulley for like the belts and all that. It was off. I don't know why it was off. It was missing a passenger seat. We installed the passenger seat, threw on the front timing belt, or the front timing pulley, and then yeah, it stayed the day there, and then the next day we dipped out and we started leaving. And you know, it was super good. We got some miles in and broke down our alternator. Oh no, it wasn't the alternator. It decided to throw both the belts. Why did it do that? I really don't know, but it did. It decided to throw both the belts. That was awesome. And then in the process of that, it boiled over the coolant, and I believe something with that coolant caused the voltage regulator of the alternator to die, and then it overcharged the car. It blew both the headlights out at dusk in the south, and everyone was flashing us, being super nice. It was awesome. After fixing the engine, we continued on our merry way. And another thing I wanted to do was fix the rear suspension, because the rear coils on it were completely blown, and it was bouncing down the highways. Driving through the Louisiana causeways was a roller coaster. Like, our rear shocks, every bump we hit, we would hit 6 of them, because it didn't like do any, there was no damping occurring. So yeah, we picked up a U-set of Fly Miata VMAX Extremes in Houston, and I met another online friend, Yubran, which I'll throw his channel description down in the or I'll throw his a link to his channel down in the description. And yeah, he let us borrow a lift because he worked at this spot that had an extra one available at the time. We slapped those coilovers on, drove that bitch the rest of the way home. And since then, I've done, you know, basic Miata stuff. I've thrown some grippy tires on it. I've gone autocrossing, done the whole front service on it. But the main issue I have with it is I live in California, and that car doesn't have it. It's running on an ECU. It doesn't pass emissions whatsoever, and it won't reasonably pass emissions ever. And I don't think I ever plan on passing emissions ever with that car. So instead of like making it a daily driver, I think I'm just going to commit to the track car bit and throw turbo on it, and you can always convert between drift car and street car fairly easy with Miatas. I just swap in the front knuckles, and I have a set of front knuckles coming in for it. Also helps quite a bit that I grew up a wrencher. It's something I kind of did at an early age, that my dad kind of got me out in the shop working on cars and engines and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really scared to work on any of it. Since getting the NA, I have picked up a welder. I was kind of teaching myself how to TIG weld aluminum, and made myself a cold air intake for it. I threw a Manzo header on it, which I wish I never did, because it's wrapped in all the heat shielding, or the heat wrap, and that shit makes me itch so bad that at this point I just wish I didn't do it, because I don't want to work on the car. It's just fucking sticky and itchy. Figure I should also tell you about some of the plans for this car. I have this box of shit sitting right here, specifically that turbo right there. It's definitely more than enough than I need for a 1.6 Miata, but yeah, it should be sick. I should be able to break pretty much every single component, like diff, transmission, bottom end of the engine, with this turbo. So hopefully it doesn't take forever to spool, and yeah, I should be able to send pretty hard with it. I'm alright setting the rev limiter a bit lower, just wah, bah, 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 all day. If it means I'm staying in boost, I have got a new flywheel, light and flywheel. In this box, there is the Stage 1 Fly Miata clutch. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of start unboxing this, maybe do a bit of time lapse, maybe tell you about what I bought, and yeah, here we go. In the first box was probably the most bougie part I bought. It's this CNC mount for the Mac valve for the boost control. The Mac valve is the boost controller. The ECU does it. But yeah, this thing, yeah, it should look pretty pimpin' in the engine bay. It's like the nicest thing that's gonna be on this car. Here's the Potenza light and flywheel. It's definitely light. I mean, like, yeah, light and shiny. I like how this thing looks. Got a new pilot bearing for it too. Comes with hardware. That's really nice. Just as a special note, I bought 1.8 stuff because it doesn't matter what is actually used between 1.6 and 1.8 as long as the 1.8 flywheel goes with a 1.8 clutch and a 1.6 flywheel goes with a 1.6 clutch. They both will bolt up to a 1.8 and a 1.6, and they will work with the same transmissions, but they have to use the same combination of flywheel and clutch. Bit of a AN4 hardware grab bag just for the oil feed line. I did some dumb shit on this car. I tapped it for a 3/8 MPT, I believe, like a year and a half ago, just being a dumbass. So I'll have to work around that. I have an adapter that'll go from 3/8 to 4AN, and then yeah, the tube should do it. Gotta find that in the boxes though. Oh, and then got a nice little stainless 3-inch flange. Planning on building myself my own down tube, so that should be fun. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Got a Boost Monkey 4AN feed restrictor because I don't believe this turbo is anything good, so it will blow oil out of all the seals if I don't have a restrictor hole on this thing. Yeah, so that should hopefully keep the oil a little bit down and prevent some smoking, because I know this thing wants to smoke. If you tuned a car before on a standalone yourself that didn't really start with one, you'll know what this is. It is a wideband O2 sensor. They like to burn themselves out, so better have one and then not need it than need one and not have it. Picked up a 3-inch V-band because I don't know if the V-band on the back of this thing is stainless or not, or the extra one I have for it is. So if I'm gonna build a stainless down pipe, I might as well just get the right hardware for the job. So, another thing I needed, just from memory, is some 45s stainless 3-inch, because the manifold I have for this thing, it makes it pretty tight. I'll have to send it down 90 and then curve it back and send it down, which is just gonna be kind of a pain in the ass. So I picked up this. This bag had some O2 bungs, so that'll be able to go on the stainless down tube. With stainless, I'm going to need the back purge, so I picked up some tubing. Oh, this is a fun box. In order to facilitate that back purging, oh, need a knife. In order to facilitate that back purging, I picked up this. It is a dual flow gas regulator. to throw in the bottle for my TIG machine so I can back purge the stainless steel and prevent some oxidization, because the shitty adapter I made last wasn't very good, and this thing should be awesome. Should do everything I need, and yeah, plus more, and waste a lot of gas. So my argon bill's about to go up dramatically here. What is that? Oh! Here's another thing I've been desperately needing. A tungsten grinder. I've tried a few different ways about it, and all of them have just sucked. And I've just resorted to using a grinding wheel, and all my welds come out shitty. So, not all of them. Like mild steel's fine, but aluminum's alright, and stainless steel not very good. Yeah. For the cheap injector option, I've picked up some GT 500 630cc injectors from KA Injection. They come with the pigtails and everything I need to just slap these things into that car, get it running and moving with bigger injectors. It's a really cheap kit too. It was like 220 bucks. You know, for other comparable injectors, it's gonna be $350 for like an EV14, like at, you know, whatever, like a fuel injector clinic kind of deal. So if these run any better than the shitty fucking RX-8 yellow or blue injectors I had at one point on this car, it'll be amazing, because this is more than enough fuel to make way too much power with this car, or run E85. This box, that car has got some shitty brakes, so got some better pads for it, some Hawk RS, or Hawk HPS high performance pads. So maybe they'll squeal or not, but my NB definitely does squeal, so not too big of a concern. I'm gonna need that hydro, that good hydro grab, and some front brakes, because in order to rotate the car, you gotta have that front foot brake in. Left foot brake. Now for the first flying Miata box, I got an Exetti Clutchmaster Clutch Slave, because it's been feeling a little shitty in the car recently, and yeah, picked one up. Oh, look at that. Comes with a little instructions booklet. How nice. Or is this just like, hey, you should go to our YouTube channel? Haha, that's exactly what it is. Last but not least, the clutch box. Or not. Not last. Last of the boxes to open. All that stuff I've had for way too long. Everyone says not to buy that shitty turbo kit off of Facebook Marketplace. But you know what? I didn't listen, and I learned my lesson. I did not need to do that. Yeah. Here's pretty much everything I need to do a bearing for this. Oh, it came with a pilot bearing? Yeah, I guess I didn't need to buy a pilot bearing, but there's an extra one. So yeah, it has the throwout bearing, has the clutch alignment tool. The part I want to look at is this box right here. Because this thing should be nice and shiny. Oh, honestly, not as shiny as I expected. Here's the clutch. Flying Miata Stage 1, sprung. It's got organic style clutch and the flywheel. I thought this thing was going to be like a shiny anodized, but it's actually like a matte color. I'm not saying there's an issue with that or anything, but just not what I expected. Wow, that thing looks great in the camera. It's so vibrant, really. Yeah, I'm so excited to throw this thing on this car and then give it some clutch kicks.
Should be great. Should be awesome. I don't know if I should have opened that. I'm not planning to install this or really drive it immediately, so hopefully that surface doesn't get too rusty or anything. I also have this honking thing. This is way too big of a turbo for a 1.6 Miata, but like, fuck it. I'll throw it on there. I don't know any better. Maybe it just looks big. I don't know. Because it's not too big in there. This turbo could just be like a compensation turbo. Could look way bigger than it actually is. I have no clue. Now for what's in the shitty turbo kit box. Definitely some other parts in there, but I have a ton of scrap aluminum I'm going to use for the cold side. I picked up some 2-inch or 2.5, or yeah, 2-inch and 2.5-inch for the cold and the hot side. Yeah, there's a bit of a bunch of random parts in this, but to be able to piece everything together for a drift build, it's already got quite a good amount of parts on it. I got spacers, there's some ARP headstock, ARP wheel studs laying around somewhere. Where's the header? Yeah, here's the no-name log style manifold I got for it. Pretty wide runners. It should flow pretty good. I mean, also it shouldn't crack, which will be nice. Like, yeah, I know cheap headers tend to crack on Miatas, so having a nice solid metal like log style one should be dialed. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I need at this point for this car. There's still front knuckles coming in from Zarek Fab, and I still need to order some some brake lines that adapt the rear brake calipers to work with a handbrake as well as a handbrake. And I'm sure there's a bunch of random odds and ends and shit that's gonna break or come up during this whole process that I'm still gonna have to figure out. But pretty much everything I need is right here, right now. And I am so ready to go. The next video is probably gonna be me pulling the transmission out of this thing and slapping that new transmission in it, throwing the injectors in it, and then taking it for a drive with a light and flywheel. It should be a fucking blast. So yeah, stick around.